We're now joined by Ashley Hodge, Sikkim365.com, who had the note and the news. Kind of gave everybody a little bit of a flare even a few days ago. Ashley, this Rob Wright III story, this happens in college basketball. How much of a kick in the nuts is this for Scott Drew and Baylor?
I think it's a huge disappointment, no question about it. First of all, congratulations on 5 years. What a great run you guys have had, and we're happy that we were there for the start of it. I know we've moved on a little bit, but we're excited for y'all. Great work. I think it's a total shock. I think that a shock in one sense of the word. You agreed upon a deal. You had a signed NIL commitment with a player. You're building the roster around him, and then at the 11th hour, he leaves you and enters the transfer portal. I think this is a clear situation where Rob Wright wanted to stay at Baylor. He had a parent that was manipulating him, trying to get a better deal behind Baylor's back. And that's my read on the situation. And, it's a shame. I think it's better for Rob that he was a Baylor Bear. He's got continuity in the system. They were going to really feature him. I think it would have been better for his long-term prospects. And now wherever he ends up, I'm hearing some BYU chatter. I think that that's going to be, a new set of guys, a new system. A lot will change, but sometimes when you chase the money, it's not all it's cracked out to be. But I wish him the best.
Yeah, it did feel like that. We were just talking about Flory Badunga before you came on. He decided to come back to Kansas. Rob, obviously. Do you think that's on the table at all,
No.
or it's off the table now, especially after the burner tweets? That one's done.
Yeah, I think Rob. If it was just Rob, I think it would be one situation. But because of what's surrounding Rob, when you go to the circus, sometimes you have to deal with clowns, kind of deal. So yeah, I think because of that, I think they're going to move on. I think it frees up. In the past, if this happened, you're really screwed. But now, you have a very nice, lucrative NIL slot that's opened up. So I have no doubt that Baylor is going to find a really quality player, maybe a player that's better next year. Rob was terrific. He was really good on offense, wasn't much of a defender. So I think, it's a low bar to find a better defensive guard. And they might find someone that's pretty close offensively to what he brought to the table and maybe a better three-point shooter. So I'm optimistic that the roster may be better for it, but you just hate to see it. He really was, as you isolate him from the parent situation. I think he was everything that Baylor looks for in a player. But it's a new world, and every man's out for himself, and so you're going to see a lot more of this roster turnover unless there's some legislation that changes things.
So 3 or so days ago, you started to kind of have some stuff out there. You mentioned even some of the possibilities of where he lands next. Do they have plenty to pick from, to choose from? Because it's like the circle of life. They lose him, somebody else gets him, so now somebody else is going to have to pay for it.
You spent hours selecting your patio sofa. Choosing that grill would have taken weeks. Probably your car needed way more time. For sure, you would have spent months mulling over that pool of yours. Protecting your prized possessions needs no time, though. Just visit coversandall.com, create a custom size per your requirements, pick a fabric, and personalize your cover. And leave the rest to us. Premium protection for all that you love.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few guys that are really quality players. No question that leaving now puts Baylor in a worse position than had he left 3 or 4 weeks ago. Because then your options are much more. Guys have already made commitments, and I don't think Baylor is going to go and try to pluck somebody that's already made a commitment to another school. Once you've made a commitment, I think our staff honors that. So I do think that they're going to have some good options, but there's no question that some of the better point guards have already made their choices, and but there's plenty of good talent out there. And this is funny. I remember a few years back talking to Scott Drew after Tyler Harris committed to Memphis. So this is going to stretch the memory for some Baylor fans. but I was so distraught about their backcourt situation. And then a couple of weeks later, you got Macio Teague, you got Davion Mitchell, and then later that summer, Jared Butler, all joining the Bears. So, sometimes your recruiting misses, or the guys you think you're going to get that you don't get end up being blessings in disguise. And hopefully that's the case for Baylor this go around.
Yeah.
Yep. No question.
Look, I said this to Evan Miyakawa earlier just before. I don't know if there's 2 or 3 coaches that are going to develop you as a point guard on the same level that Scott will. I mean, like, of all the positions that you can say, he pretty much has point guard on lock as you're going to come in and get better. Tweety Carter is on the staff, for God's sakes. And that, like, as a match of coach who did what the player is doing, Tweety and Rob, to me, just felt like it was kismet. Now that's over. Do you expect to see whoever the transfer is that comes in to play point guard maybe come out of left field a little bit, because he's done that before too with guys like Kenny Cherry and Pierre Jackson?
Yeah. No, I think they're going to get the best available player. I think that they know what works in this system. They know what they're looking for. They want to complement some of the good talent they've already got on the roster. Obi Agben from Wyoming, Cam Carr, transfer from Tennessee. Of course, Tunde Yesufu, they're really excited about him. And then Michael Ratai, the power forward from Oregon State. And then who am I leaving out? J.J. White from Omaha, who is the point guard. And maybe, this gives him a big opportunity. I'm pretty impressed with him. I think he's a lot better than people realize. Dropped 29 points in that championship game against St. Thomas. And he's a baller. He's got a big body and can hit threes and facilitate. So, he might be the guy, but I think they're going to be looking for somebody that they have a high deal of confidence that can run the show at this level and compete for a Big 12 championship.
How quickly will that happen?
I think they're closer to a couple other guys. I think they're closer to locking down a post and maybe a wing player than getting a point guard. But I expect it in the next couple weeks.
Are the JUCO guys even at the point where they can play for Baylor right now? Because they, like Paul mentioned, Pierre and Kenny, those were special guys.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard any JUCO names.
Yeah, okay.
The names I've been hearing are guys that play in Power 5 conferences and are proven commodities. So I think they'll probably go down that road, or they may be looking for a Ray J. Dennis type of player, somebody that's looking to go up a level, but they have a high degree of confidence in. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't bet they would go JUCO, but you never know.
What are your thoughts? Darian Williams enters the portal with the option to stay or go somewhere else, or the NBA. There's thoughts about Toppin. Valuable, lots of money out there for them, although Tech takes care of their players. Right. What was your thoughts when you heard about that news?
I mean, it's insane. I mean, I think it's got to be frustrating for a coach. I've been talking about this on the message boards. People have been saying, I don't want fifth-year seniors. I don't want, I want guys that we can develop for 2, 3, 4 years. That's not the reality, because if they're good, look at what Tech's dealing with. You're going to have that every year. It's total free agency. Rob Wright, I know what he was going to, be making this year in NIL. That may have had a double next year if he had a good year. So then you're left with maybe saying it's not worth it to keep him. So I mean, it's a money ball equation, and there's going to be so much roster turnover. I know the fans hate it. I'm not fond of it either, but it's just the world we live in right now, unless there's some guardrails that are put in.
We have the 5th year, and you're right. You were there. You, Colt, and Brian were the ones that helped have the idea and contacted us very, very quickly. So we're having this cookie cake and celebrating 5 years thanks to you too, Ashley.
Well, appreciate all that you've done, and look forward to we're going to still be in a partnership. We need each other, so appreciate you having me on, and thank you for all you do. No,
we're blocking your damn number. No. We're not going to have you on ever again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We do. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Hey, Ashley, the Big 12 being in the title game again, winning this one would be huge for the conference. How do you think the game shakes out tonight?
I picked Houston in my bracket. Man, there's just something about them. They're so tough. They're so tough-minded. We saw it in the Duke game. And, just to go through the Big 12 conference, which I know everybody's SEC, but to go through the Big 12 conference in 19-1 and to be undefeated on the road, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, that is so hard to do. It just shows how good they are, how experienced they are. Their relentlessness on the glass, their relentlessness on defense. I mean, if they can make some shots, I think they're the tougher team. Florida's really good, but I think Houston's going to win it tonight.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate your time. Right. Ashley Hodge, Sikkim365.com, one of the owners, but also a huge contributor when it comes to men's basketball news, an insider. We appreciate him for being a part of the show.